I'd like to thank Reverend Allen for allowing me to be part of this service and to talk to you today as a witness to the generous friendship my wife and I have received from UUSG. Marie-Clare and I have been members only a short while. We moved to St. Charles in August of 2023 because we were going to assist in the elder care of Marie-Clare's father, Guy Prisco. We were able to make this move because we both work remotely. Marie-Clare works for Crate and Barrel, and I teach at a small regional university in West Texas as a professor of English. I also write poetry. I have 4 collections of verse, including 1 book of Buddhist Sutras, and I recently published an anthology of poems by other poets on the topic of growing old, something members of this congregation may know about. It's entitled The Senior Class, 100 Poets on Aging. It'll make sense then, I hope, that I will be sharing 4 of my poems, 1 for each of the 4 parts of my talk this morning. So part 1, we the Interbe. I've entitled this talk, Please Be Seated, We the Interbe, because I want to talk about the pews you're sitting in and how we are, according to the Buddhist concept of interbeing or no self, all of us are interbeings. Interbeing is the scientific reality that helps us understand that there's no such thing as an isolated, unique, individual human self. We are not distinct from the influences of other human beings. The natural world, as well as the nation, the region, the culture, the skin and gender and family we happen to be born into through no choice of our own. In Buddhism, this is called interdependent co-arising. Interdependent co-arising. In other words, our appearance in this world is dependent upon what and who has come before and what we find when we get here. As interbeings, we become. We share in the reality of co-being. We are nourished by multiple causes and conditions that generate both joy and suffering. In his book, The Other Shore, Thich Nhat Hanh, the well-known Buddhist teacher, explained interbeing using the example of a piece of paper. He wrote, "If we continue to look into the sheet of paper, we can see the sunshine in it. If the sunshine is not there, the forest cannot grow. Without the sunshine, nothing can grow, not even us. So we know that the sunshine is also in the sheet of paper. The paper and the sunshine are. Looking more deeply, we can see the logger who cut the tree and brought it into the mill to be transformed into paper. We also see the wheat. We know that the logger cannot exist without his daily bread. So the wheat that became his bread is also in this sheet of paper. The logger's father and mother are in the paper as well. Without all of these other things, there would be no sheet of paper at all." Each of us is like this piece of paper. We are composed of ingredients visible and invisible. We are shaped by our species, our ancestors, our family tree. And if we dig far enough down into the roots of our evolutionary tree, we will also find that all animals, including us, share a common ancestor. Does anyone know what that is? It is the sponge. This shared beginning is not only evident in the pores in our skin that expel and absorb moisture, but it is also evident in our respiration, breathing in and breathing out, our digestive system of consumption and elimination, the pumping of our hearts, the filtering system of our kidneys and our liver, and also that fragile, complex sponge wrapped in the protective armor of our skull. Our brain, its ability not only to direct and coordinate the internal work of our other sponges, but to absorb, process, and communicate external information, to learn, to feel, to express new knowledge, new pains and pleasures, and new works of imagination. Because we share the porous nature of all animals, we are interconnected in this way. We are more than just connected, we flow like a river into and out of each other. We are absorbent. I absorb you and you absorb me. We mop it all up and we wring it out again. We interbe, we co-be. We are all pore bearers. Poem number 1, Pore Bearer. I know I'm not the sole author of my mind and heart, not even this poem. Sure, I own this tall container of a person that carries me, but the contents always leak. My ancestors jostle around inside me, and they crowd and shove inside each other too. Once I thought I was a solid hunk of a soul, impenetrable, private, my own best man. But I look at my hands and I see my father, my grin and tears, my mom. And who knows where my great-grandmother lives? My hair, my teeth, my toes, my knees. I'm going to say that she's in the way I sit on the edge of my bed each morning, bare feet on the floor. You know, a family tree is not so much a tree as a river we float on, drink from, drown some. No matter how much I want to hide from myself, there's no door to shut, no lock, no key. The only reason I'm telling you this now is to admit to myself, there is no me without you. I'll also never meet all those I will live inside. You neither. But if I return, let me be a screen door on a warm afternoon. Some high bird song or tire grumble outside will be welcomed in. I'll also let the neighbors know what's cooking. Better yet, sister, make me a sponge who never tires of taking in and giving out and starting over again. Pass it on. Part 2, entry points. I would also not have absorbed in my life the courage and inspiration to be standing here if it were not for the friendships Marie-Clare and I have made here at UUSG. You know, it's been very easy for us as new members to witness the kindness and generosity we've received in this community. Returning to the analogy of the sponge, I hope you can see that this is a very absorbent community. It has so many entry points and so many ways to associate ourselves together and serve each other within and beyond these walls, yes? Open your program now. Open your program now and examine all of the ways you were invited to be absorbed into this community. All the ways you are invited to enter and share your life and your gifts with others and to be also on the receiving end of those lives and gifts as well. Think also about how the young people of our community benefit from this community through its religious education, its field trips, its summers working for Habitat for Humanity. Maybe your children and family have absorbed the benefits of these activities. Maybe as a young person, you've benefited from them as well. On one of our first Sundays here in the church, Marie-Clare and I sat on one of the back pews and looked over the trifold program at all the ways we were invited to become involved. So many ways to join and contribute. We were very interested, but we were also a little overwhelmed by all of the service projects and groups. We agreed we had to pace ourselves and not get involved in too much. For example, given our background in Buddhist studies and practice, we were at first drawn to the offerings of the Blue Lotus group meditation on Tuesday nights. We also attended a couple of pub theology gatherings, served up food at the Swedish Days pizza booth, and recently contributed to Friendsgiving and the Cookie Walk. So many ways to make new friends, associate ourselves together, and support UUSG. Additionally, Marie-Clare was drawn to the social justice team, and I became interested in the choir. Since joining as members last February, we have been to 3 of the protest rallies: April's Hands-Off Rally for Democracy on Geneva Bridge, September's No Kings Rally in East St. Charles, and November rally in South Elgin, protesting AT&T's support of ICE. I also joined the choir as a tenor and found so much joy and many friendships there. During one of the first evenings I attended choir practice, an old friend of mine from Texas called to check in on me. His message went to voicemail. I wrote the following poem back to him. Poem number 2, Missed. Sorry I missed your call. I was at choir practice. Is not something I thought I'd be saying at this time in my life. But here I am trying to read the tenor line in a Unitarian church circa 1842. And I can't tell if the lights are dim or if there are too many notes or if I'm losing my sight, which wouldn't surprise me circa 1954, but I sing by ear mostly anyway, listening to Roger behind me, who is one of the tenors I stand with in the pews on Wednesdays. Tonight, rehearsing 3 songs I never heard before, but our pianist picks out our parts, and our director keeps cheering us on. And after 50 years absent from choir, my old voice says, I missed you too. So yes, I'm a tenor in a choir that has absorbed me with great kindness, giving me the chance to return to the joys and beauty of singing and harmonizing with others, and yes, the choir is a wonderful sponge. We take in new music, we listen, we absorb, we practice, and practice, and practice, and then we sing out to the congregation for you to absorb again. I believe the choir is one of the most dynamic ways one can be absorbed into this community and enjoy the company of new friends, including for me this last year, Tom Zimmerman and Michael Mackey. You know, I took a pill that was supposed to stop this dripping. Part 3, the Pew Crew. During one choir rehearsal, I overheard Tom and Michael talking about plans for repairing our pews. As you may recall, we used to have some pretty rockin' pews. In fact, when Marie-Clare and I first began attending, we thought it curious that the pews seemed unstable. What did that instability reflect about the church itself? And its ability to absorb new members. So when I asked Tom and Michael what they were up to, I volunteered to help out if they needed another hand. Soon thereafter, I was introduced to Dave Zacker's basement workshop, and based upon designs created by Michael, we began to fabricate out of poplar stock new feet for the pews. So here's some poplar. That's what we used to create the new feet on the pews there. After a couple of hours of table saws, band saws, and lots of sawdust, we roughed out all of those pew feet. And then a couple of weeks later, Tom, Michael, and I met in the workshop to finish up the fabrication. Dave and his family were out of town in Alaska, so we took over. As we prepared to get started, Michael offered me the bandsaw station. But I thought I might try a simpler task, so he gave me a box knife and a roll of thin black rubber neoprene that we were going to put on the bottom of those feet to protect them. I composed the following poem the next day. Poem number 3, The Sight of Blood. Yesterday, when I passed out in Dave's living room, I apparently landed on my chest and faced first, given the bloody nose, the busted lip, and the sore rib, which are all unforeseen effects of a simple error in calculating the pathway of a box knife in Dave's basement workshop as I passed on the opportunity to use the bandsaw, which I thought above my skill level, and instead chose the simpler blade. And shortly thereafter pulled it into the tip of my left index finger, upon which I asked my workshop pals, Michael and Tom, if they knew where I could get a Band-Aid. And Dave, not being home with his family in Alaska, we trotted upstairs in search of supplies. I grabbed a tissue, rinsed my finger in the kitchen sink, and feeling lightheaded, saw an easy chair I could land in. But then all systems quickly went offline. Conscious next of Michael and Tom over me, sprawled out as I was on Dave's very nice rug, which is a very comforting place to be, given the surviving roots of my family tree, prone as we are to fake our deaths. When the red stuff flows, mostly our own. Part 4. Please be seated. Yes, I have inherited fainting at the sight of blood in my bloodline. I have absorbed from my family tree the vasovagal response, which for a tall person and for a person of my age can lead to quite a crash. I have also inherited from my bloodline, like all of us, the ability to heal again, though I still have a little bump on my lip. Nevertheless, you might imagine also how quickly the four of us, a collection shortly thereafter dubbed the Pew Crew, bonded over my error, my blood loss, my fainting, but more importantly, bonding as friends as we continued to fabricate and install the new feet on these old pews. This kind of collaborative friendship is my favorite kind of absorption. It offers so many opportunities for connecting, for discovering, for shared experiences, and for learning from one another, for interbeing. Sponges. Another thing I absorbed from this shared experience was new knowledge about the history of our church pews. When Marie-Clare and I first began attending, someone mentioned that the pews were salvaged from the Great Chicago Fire of 1871. As a member of the Pew Crew, I learned from Michael that though this story was often circulated among the congregation, it was ultimately not true. According to our UUSG heritage team, 24 9-foot pews and 8 5-foot pews were ordered in 1879 at the cost of $240 by church member W.D. Turner from Palmer, Fuller, and Company of Chicago. As we on the Pew Crew were installing the new feet on the pews, we could clearly see written in large black letters on the underside of several of those pews, W.D. Turner, Geneva, Illinois. But our pews are more than historical artifacts from 150 years ago. They have seen so much, held so many, been worn down, been bent a bit, repaired, lifted, moved to make room for other events. They are significant players in the drama of our church. They have absorbed so much. And from their first service, Sunday, these pews have seen about 7,600 Sundays. Would anyone like to guess how many new members have joined since 1879? 1,489 new members. And just this last calendar year, 2025, guess how many people have sat in these pews? 5,458. And as we return to 2 services per Sunday once again, and as our congregation continues to grow, these pews will absorb and support so much more. Poem number 4, these pews. These pews wait for us all week to continue our habit of opening the doors, turning on the lights, warming the room with our bodies, the hugs, the handshakes, the howdy-doos, a ringing bell, our sitting and standing, our rituals of song and reading aloud the words that strengthen our seeking. And these pews happily take our weight. Feel how easily they silently cradle us. Strong and flexible, older than the oldest of us. Wiser, probably. Certainly more steadfast in their attendance, their service, more loving and fearless in welcoming whoever happens to enter. Seeking a place to sit, seeking the comfort of a friend, one pew after another. Happy we came. And now that you've heard my poem, I hope these pews are inside of you in a new way. Absorb them differently. Put your hand on the pew in front of you, or beside you, or below you. Imagine, if you can, all those in the history of this church who have also touched and sat here. All those who have benefited from the friendship of this community. We interbe with these pews and those people. Imagine also all of those who will come after us, unknown to us, but still welcome no matter their joys and their suffering. Isn't it a pleasure to be seated here? To be we the interbeings. Among all of the other sponges among us, breathe in, breathe out. Feel the gift of taking it all in and giving it all away again. Feel how we are soaked in the friendship of this beloved community. Feel how we are associating ourselves together because we cannot and should not do it alone. Feel the benefit of cooperative living as we join hands in our work together. Take someone's hand next to you, or just take the hand of a person you wish or imagine is here with you. See how clear and bright our path together has become as we seek truth and goodness. Let it be. Let it be.
Visit us at uusg.org.